My name is Dr. Emilie Jones. I am a chiropractor at Owl Chiropractic in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. Today we will be discussing women's hormones and how to balance them naturally. Topics include what hormones are, the monthly cycle, perimenopause and menopause, symptoms of hormone imbalance, how those hormones got unbalanced, hormone replacement therapy, and natural ways to balance hormones. Hormones are chemical messengers produced by glands in the endocrine system. They are secreted into the bloodstream and travel throughout the body to target specific organs or tissues. Hormones play a crucial role in regulating a wide range of bodily functions, including growth and development, metabolism, reproduction, mood and behavior, and homeostasis. There are 7 main players when talking about women's hormones. The first is estrogen. It is crucial in the development of female reproductive tissues and secondary sexual characteristics. It also plays a role in bone health, cardiovascular function, and mood regulation. The second one is progesterone. This is essential for regulating the menstrual cycle and maintaining pregnancy. It prepares the uterus for a fertilized egg. The third is testosterone. This is not just for men. In women, it plays a vital role in libido, bone density, and overall energy levels. The fourth hormone is insulin. This regulates blood sugar levels. The fifth hormone is cortisol. This is produced by the adrenal glands in response to stress. It is a vital aspect in the body's fight or flight or sympathetic response. The sixth hormone is follicle-stimulating hormone, usually referred to as FSH. It is produced by the pituitary gland and stimulates the growth of follicles in the ovaries and encourages the production of estrogen. The last big hormone we should know about is luteinizing hormone, or LH. This is produced by the pituitary gland and triggers the release of the egg from the ovary. Most women know that we have a monthly cycle of hormones. However, they don't actually understand what happens. So today I'm going to explain the 4 different stages of the monthly cycle and show you some visuals to understand how the hormones fluctuate throughout this cycle. The first stage is the menstrual period, the actual bleeding. This starts the counter of the cycle in days. A decrease in progesterone starts that first day of the shedding of the uterine lining or the bleeding. A period should last 3 to 7 days and occur every 26 to 30 days. The second stage is the follicular stage. This is the release of FSH from the pituitary gland, which stimulates the follicles to mature in your ovaries, and those follicles contain the egg. Stage 3 is the ovulation. This is when the egg is released from the follicle, usually occurring around day 14. And you should note that the egg is only going to survive for 12 to 24 hours. The last stage of the cycle is the luteal phase. This is when the egg is moving from the ovary through the fallopian tubes and into the uterus. The uterus lining has been preparing for pregnancy by thickening. If the egg is fertilized by a sperm, it will attach to the wall and start the pregnancy process. If fertilization does not occur, estrogen and progesterone levels will drop and the uterine lining is shed, which starts the next monthly cycle with the bleeding. Here you can see a visual representation of the cycle that I just described. You can see all 4 stages and how the hormones fluctuate throughout the entire month. Men, on the other hand, have a daily hormone cycle. For women, this is fluctuating throughout the entire month. Estrogen is one of the main hormones in women. The rise and fall of estrogen is what triggers perimenopause and menopause. In the graphic, you can see that as we get closer to age 35, estrogen is still increasing in the woman's body. When we hit our early 40s, it starts to decrease. So perimenopause is the fluctuation and decrease in hormones that leads to menopause. Some women can experience hot flashes, mood swings, and sleep issues as these hormones start to fluctuate. Menopause is the end of the menstrual cycle, marked by a significant decrease in estrogen and progesterone, usually reached in late 40s to early 50s. It has become very common that many women start hitting perimenopause and menopause earlier than what has been normal. Women hitting perimenopause and menopause earlier than what we used to is a symptom of hormone imbalances. One of my favorite quotes is, "A healthy woman is a fertile woman." Many people are aware that infertility rates are rising and women are having trouble getting pregnant. One of those reasons is because of hormone imbalances. When talking about hormone imbalances, I also really like the saying that common does not equal normal. It is very common that women have painful periods and cramps. However, that is actually not a normal symptom of having your cycle. Okay. Symptoms that could indicate hormone imbalances include irregular periods, heavy periods, painful periods, absence of periods, weight gain or loss or the inability to lose weight, hair loss, acne, hot flashes, night sweats, fatigue, mood swings, anxiety, depression, irritability, difficulty concentrating, and decreased sex drive. I don't know about you guys, but this seems to be a very common thing that a lot of women struggle with at least one, if not many, of these symptoms I just mentioned. However, this isn't normal. We're seeing an increase in these symptoms because we're seeing an increase in hormone imbalances. Studies are showing that upwards of 43% of women struggle with hormone imbalances. That's almost 1 out of every 2 women struggling with hormone imbalances. These numbers have only been climbing in the last few decades. So what have we been doing? Why are these hormone imbalances increasing? If we look at our environment, it has changed drastically over the last few decades. Things like artificial, preservative-filled fake foods are all over the place. They're easy access. They're even cheaper than real food that's healthy for you. We've also been having an increased exposure to toxic chemicals, plastics, fertilizers, artificial fragrances, body care products, makeups, lotions. All of these things are containing chemicals that our bodies aren't used to. We've also seen an increase in artificial light that'll disrupt our circadian rhythm. We also have increased time sitting at computers and TV, which is impacting our posture, which impacts our nervous system. And we're spending less time outside in the sun, right? Everyone knows about low levels of vitamin D these days. Everyone's taking supplements for vitamin D. Vitamin D is actually a hormone and can really contribute to hormonal imbalances. We're also seeing social media use increase exponentially, right? Especially compared to 20 years ago. I don't even know if it existed 20 years ago. We're constantly comparing our life to others, and their highlight reels. That is mostly adding stress to our life. And we're going to get into how stress can impact us very shortly. I first want to talk about hormonal birth control. Okay, this can be a little bit of a controversial topic. However, it is something to really note with hormones and hormone imbalances. What hormonal birth control does, or HBC, usually taken in pill form, okay, but there are other types of it. HBC tricks your body into thinking it's constantly pregnant so that it does not produce an egg. So this is going to constantly have your hormones running at a level as if you were pregnant. Okay. You cannot have balanced hormones on HBC. The point of taking the birth control is to disrupt the hormones so that you can't get pregnant. I also want to note that the bleed or the period on HBC is not actually a period. It's actually a withdrawal symptom and bleeding from the body. It is not an actual period. So I truly believe in informed consent. My problem with HBC is that most women are not actually given full informed consent and given all of the pros and cons, all the possible adverse reactions and symptoms of hormonal birth control. Many women have been on HBC for 15, 20 years, and then they get off of it and they try to get pregnant and they don't understand why they're infertile, right? It's been messing with their hormones for years and years and years. So I believe in the right to choose, and that includes giving full informed consent to women before they're given HBC. A side note, the copper IUD is what a lot of people will try and switch to avoid the hormonal aspect. So this will prevent pregnancy by releasing copper ions into the uterus to immobilize sperm, which is basically messing with the pH of the uterus. Okay. Once you start messing with one part of the body, it's going to have an impact on other parts as well. It's creating an inflammatory response in the uterus to prevent fertilization of the egg and from it attaching into the uterus. Okay. So again, there's pros and cons to everything that we do to our body. So again, informed consent, make sure you're asking your providers what the possible negatives and adverse reactions are to these things. Hormone testing is a great topic. A lot of people want to talk about their imbalanced hormones, or they start taking things to help quote unquote balance out their hormones, but they haven't actually had any real testing done. Okay. To test hormones, you can do it via blood, saliva, and urine. Some hormones need to be tested at certain times of your cycle for an accurate result. So it's important to make sure that the provider you're working with is aware of this. The gold standard in hormone testing currently is the Dutch test. This utilizes multiple urinary samples in a 24-hour period during a certain window of your cycle. With any testing, it is important to work with an experienced healthcare professional to interpret your results. Unfortunately, hormones are not an 1 + 1 = 2 type of thing. Just because you're deficient in one thing doesn't mean that something else isn't being impacted. When talking about women's hormones, it's also important to mention hormone replacement therapy, better known as HRT. Many women are getting put on this today because unfortunately many women are becoming aware of their hormonal balances late in life. Even with the lifestyle changes and some of the stuff I'm about to talk about, they still suffer from symptoms of those hormonal imbalances. So HRT is something that a lot of providers will reach for. It typically has a favorable response in women. It can help keep those estrogen levels higher as you age, to help keep the body functioning more normally. Bioidentical is best. When taking HRT, however, you still need to strive to make any needed changes to your lifestyle that contributed to those hormonal imbalances in the first place in order to support your body while it's on HRT. That leads us right into supplements. So there are studies out there that support the use of supplements for hormonal imbalances. However, I have a little bit of a riff with supplements. Okay, if you're unaware, the supplement industry is not regulated, so you might not be taking what you think you're taking. Also realize that real foods have naturally occurring balance of nutrients. Supplements can quickly overload an already stressed out body or nervous system. Okay. Supporting hormonal imbalances, again, is not as easy as take X to increase or decrease Y. If you're low on estrogen, other than HRT, right, there is no just easy way to supplement and take a pill that has a plant for estrogen in it. There's a lot more nuance to that conversation. Again, without proper hormone testing and working with an experienced professional, you can very easily waste a lot of money and potentially even create more imbalances by taking supplements. You can't out-supplement a poor diet or lifestyle. Okay, supplements are not a root cause fix. Your body is not missing that specific magnesium pill at the dosage that you're taking. Okay? Supplements should always be supplemental to a healthy lifestyle. So while some of you might have been expecting me to list off a bunch of supplements you should be looking into to help support you, we're going to actually switch over to the natural ways to support hormones. First, I want to mention epigenetics. So epigenetics is a study of how environmental and behavioral factors impact your DNA. This field has found that 95% of our health is determined by the lifestyle choices we make, which will turn on and off the genes that we are predisposed to. This should excite you. Okay, a lot of people out there want to say, oh, because this runs in my family, I have this. No. This finding in epigenetics should excite you because it means that you can make a difference. You are not a slave to your parents' DNA. Okay? You are not required to have the same diseases that your family has. I'm going to say that again. You are not required to have the same diseases that your family has. But you do have to live differently. Everything comes back to diet and lifestyle. Right? We want to get out of our body's way and allow it to heal itself. I believe one of the biggest contributing factors to hormonal imbalances in women, and arguably men as well, is high stress. And today's environment and world is a very high stress world. Okay? We're worried about our jobs and our relationships and money and all these things that we really didn't worry about as much or in the same way that we used to. When talking about stress and the nervous system, which controls everything in our body, we have to talk about the two different sides of our nervous system. We have sympathetic, which is our fight or flight, and we have parasympathetic, which is our rest and digest. Most of us are stuck in sympathetic, that fight or flight response. Okay? We need this response in our body. Okay? It was originally designed to, help us outrun lions and tigers and bears. Okay? It does really cool things like dilate our eyes so that we can run away through the woods faster and get to safety, okay, because we can see better. However, we need to spend most of our time in parasympathetic, that rest and digest, okay? This side of our nervous system will literally pull the blood from our extremities into our gut so that we can digest food better. Okay? If you're stuck in sympathetic and you're eating really healthy food, your body's still not going to be getting all the nutrients out of that food because it's not digesting it to its fullest potential. Again, today, most people are stuck in the sympathetic state way too much of the time. Some people, literally 100% of the time. Okay? Parasympathetic is where we need to be so our bodies can rest, digest, and heal. We can't balance out our hormones if our body is not in that parasympathetic state. Okay? High stress will also lead to things like high cortisol. Cortisol regulates our metabolism, blood sugar, and blood pressure. It plays a key role in our body's response to stress. Again, our body needs to be able to switch between sympathetic and parasympathetic, but we can't live in the sympathetic. Okay, it's going to wear our bodies out much faster. High cortisol leads to things like weight gain, skin changes, bone loss, high blood pressure, anxiety, depression, mood swings, and more. So that's the type of things that can happen if you're living a stressed out life. So I know right now everyone's thinking, how on earth do I not have stress? Right? It's 2024. There's a lot that you can do to help manage stress. Okay? Up here I have listed quite a few things that has studies and research showing that's going to help you manage stress, help put you into that parasympathetic state. Meditation or prayer, breath work, journaling, making sure you have healthy relationships, right? Family can be a hard one to navigate, but, friends and coworkers, having healthy relationships and not people that gossip all the time or, try to put you down or all that kind of stuff will just add stress to your life. Practicing mantras and affirmations. Decreasing social media use. This is huge. Again, social media is full of stressful things, especially certain times of the year, holidays and vacations or, elections, things like that. It's always polarizing. It's not real life. And it can create a ton of anxiety and stress for people without even you realizing it. I recently deleted social media off my phone, and I wouldn't really have considered myself a social media addict, but I've noticed a huge drop in, stress just from deleting social media off my phone. You can decrease media consumption. Again, the polarizing, the constant stream of negative thoughts and stories. It's hard to avoid if you're constantly watching the news. You can book a massage. Go get a massage and help relieve some stress. You can move your body and get outside. Again, getting exposed to vitamin D is a hormone. It's going to boost a lot of good things in your body. Getting outside is a great way to manage stress as well. Research has found many benefits to moving your body. Okay, exercise has been shown to have a lot of positive impacts on your hormones by doing things like raising dopamine, which will reduce stress and depression. It's going to increase serotonin, which will improve your mood, sleep, and digestion. It's going to increase testosterone, which will help slow the effects of aging. Increasing estrogen will, again, reduce menopause symptoms and slow down that early menopause that most women seem to be reaching these days. It's going to increase endorphins to reduce pain and improve your mood. Moving your body is going to help balance out leptin and ghrelin, which is going to regulate your hunger cues. It'll also help balance insulin sensitivity, which will contribute to better weight management. And it's going to decrease adrenaline. and cortisol. As we decrease adrenaline and cortisol, our body is more easily able to go into that parasympathetic state or that rest, digest, and heal stage. Moving your body doesn't need to be complicated. Okay? I tell people all the time, you don't need to go be doing CrossFit 5 times a week. Okay, actually, it's probably a really bad idea for most women. Okay? Find something that you enjoy and do it often. That can be walking in the woods. It can be running. It can be doing CrossFit. It can be tennis or pickleball, skiing, riding bike, playing with your dog, grandchildren, anything that moves your body. Okay? Definitely don't underestimate the power of just walking. If you do happen to partake in intense exercise, make sure you're recovering well. Right? That's why I mentioned, CrossFit 5 times a week might be a little bit too much for most women. If you are into that, just make sure you're recovering well. Okay, you're eating enough, you're sleeping enough, you're stretching, and doing mobility work, or you're going to overtax your body and have the opposite effect that you're trying to have with your hormones. Okay, stretching. Okay, nobody stretches enough. Okay. Stretching is going to help move things through your body, help clean out your lymphs, and detox, and just help balance things out. Also, make sure you're hydrating. Okay, at least half of your body weight in ounces of water per day. And yes, I do mean water, straight water, maybe some electrolytes or salt thrown in there, but not half your body weight of ounces in coffee. Okay, we'll talk about coffee in a little bit. Lifting weights. I love helping women figure out that lifting weights is so good for you. It's going to help you maintain your muscle mass as well as your bone density. I promise you will not get bulky. In order to get bulky as a woman, we need to try really, 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 really hard when we're lifting weights. Okay. You have to eat a certain way. You have to work out a certain way. You have to time things. It's due to our hormones and how they fluctuate, and the amount of testosterone that we naturally have. We have to try much, much harder than men to get bulky after from lifting weights. All right, food is next. You knew this was coming, right? Why is food so important? Because the nutrients we consume provide the building blocks for hormones. For instance, certain vitamins and minerals are essential for the synthesis or creation of thyroid hormones. Okay, and those will help regulate our metabolism. Healthy fats are necessary for the production of sex hormones like estrogen and testosterone. The gut microbiome is also heavily influenced by diet and has been shown to have an impact on our hormone levels. A poor diet can also cause systemic inflammation throughout the body, which is going to interfere with a lot of things, create a lot of dis-ease and disruption throughout the body, including to the hormone balance. So what should you be eating to help your hormones? I should really have called this Healthy Eating Mini 101 because I've given like a 40-minute presentation on Healthy Eating 101. But in the most concise possible way to what healthy eating looks like, you're going to want to eat as many whole foods as you can. If you are eating packaged foods, try to choose ones that have the least ingredients on the label. And make sure you're avoiding words that you can't pronounce. Those are usually additives and preservatives and chemicals. You want to try and eat out less and cook it more at home. Meal prep. Okay? It's a lot easier to eat cleaner and healthier when you're providing your own food and making it yourself. You want to make sure you're consuming enough protein. Okay? Protein is going to help keep you fuller longer, help you keep you satiated, and help with muscle mass as well. You're going to aim for at least 1 gram per kilogram, not pound. Okay, so you might have to do some conversions there. But 1 gram of protein per kilogram of body weight. And please note that animal proteins are healthy for you. Okay? Don't believe in all of the hype that everyone needs to go vegan and vegetarian. I actually advocate against that unless you have very deep-seated personal reasons, and then you need to make sure that you're doing a lot to make sure you're getting ample amounts of protein and the right combinations of protein. Okay, so, but to keep off that soapbox, animal proteins are healthy for you, so do not be afraid to eat those if you were worried about health. Healthy fats will help balance out your hormones as well. When you're cooking and eating fats, which are super healthy for you, again, fat doesn't make you fat. Sugar will make you fat. So healthy fats you want to consume are avocado oil, coconut oil, extra virgin olive oil, butter, lard, ghee. There's a few others that I didn't list too. You also want to make sure you're getting enough fiber. High fiber foods, leafy greens, quinoa, those can also help regulate your hormones. Consuming healthy, complex carbs like white rice, not brown rice, that contains high levels of arsenic. So white rice, sourdough bread, preferably homemade. They have a lot less ingredients in it. And potatoes are actually really good, healthy, complex carbs that you can be eating. Eat a variety of local, in-season fruits and vegetables to get a wide range of vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants, which are just great for overall health and hormone balance. Fermented foods will help improve your gut health, which we just kind of talked about, really influences your hormones as well. Things like yogurt, kefir, kimchi, and sauerkraut. Again, just make sure that you're not getting ones with a bunch of sugar or, added ingredients to them. So I'm also going to mention the things that you shouldn't be eating, okay? Kind of the opposite of what we just talked about. Again, processed foods are going to contain high levels of unhealthy fats, added sugars, artificial ingredients. All these things have been shown to disrupt hormone levels. So trying to avoid those as much as you can is going to be beneficial. Excessive caffeine and alcohol, right? That's going to contribute to hormone imbalances. A glass of wine a night, or 4 or 5 drinks on the weekends is enough to disrupt your hormonal imbalances. I'm probably going to be unpopular for saying this, but I'm sorry, it's the truth. Excessive caffeine, I'm talking like 8 ounces of coffee, a morning is not really considered excessive when you're getting, a 32 ounce latte from Starbucks 4 or 5 times a week. That's definitely excessive caffeine. You also want to avoid caffeine after 12 or 1 p.m. in the afternoon, or it'll start interrupting your sleep as well. Alcohol will absolutely disrupt your sleep as well. High consumption of soy is also going to interfere with hormone production. If you're eating a lot of packaged products, that's going to have a lot of soy in it. Excessive carbohydrates compared to your activity levels is going to increase weight and inflammation. Okay. The more that you work out and move, the more carbohydrates your body can use. Okay. If we're over consuming carbohydrates is one of the biggest problems in the weight epidemic in America. So just try and pay attention to that. You want to avoid carbs that have multiple ingredients in them. Okay. So I said, rice and potatoes are good carbs. Bad carbs are going to be cakes and cookies and chips. Not that you can't have a piece of cake or cookie or, a couple of chips every so often. But really, most people are eating way too much of those things way too often. Sugar increases inflammation, leading to weight gain and hormone imbalances. It is very hard to eat a low sugar or a sugar-free diet. Okay. And if you are trying to go sugar-free, eating packaged goods that say sugar-free on them are again going to contain a lot of added artificial ingredients and chemicals that aren't good for you either. So that's why we go for mostly whole foods. Things you want to avoid cooking with are canola oil and vegetable oil. These have been shown to increase inflammation in the body, which again is going to disrupt a lot of things, including your hormone levels. And a final note is to not drink calories. Okay. Non-water beverages typically contain sugar, whether naturally occurring or not, still sugar. They also usually have additional unhealthy ingredients as well. And I always love to note that fruit smoothies are high in sugar and low in protein. There's not really a good breakfast choice. Okay. Smoothies for breakfast, again, high sugar, low protein, not going to keep you satiated very long and also going to send your blood sugar on a roller coaster ride throughout the day. The next topic is one of my favorites that I love to talk about, and that is toxins. Okay, toxins are everywhere. I mentioned this a little bit earlier in the presentation. The chemicals that cause hormone disruption can be found in tons of things that we have in our houses. Skincare products, makeup, cleaning products. You just walk into Walmart or a grocery store and look at all of the products on the shelves, right? While the levels in each product are considered safe, the amount of products that you're using and exposed to every day adds up. Okay. A little bit here and there adds up to a major disruption. Artificial fragrances are huge hormone disruptors, and they're everywhere, like everywhere. Okay. I spend about 2 to 3 minutes every time I go to buy trash bags, because there is one box of unscented trash bags on the shelf and like 500 other boxes that all have some sort of, meadow or lavender or spring type of scent added to it. Take your trash out every 1 to 2 days. As long as you're not throwing something super smelly in there, and you don't need your trash bag to smell like lavender. Okay. So bottom line, when it comes to toxins and products, I have a formula that you can follow called eliminate, replace, reduce. Okay? So every product that you have in your house, you should look at it and say, can I eliminate this? I can't really eliminate my deodorant. I kind of need that, right? So the next thing is, can I replace this? Can I find a healthier product that, doesn't contain aluminum, right? Aluminum is in your deodorant is not good for you. It's linked to breast cancer. But so can I replace this with a better product? Sure. Can I reduce the use of it? Probably not. If we're looking at, makeup, can I eliminate it? I personally have made the choice to eliminate makeup, and I don't wear it. Not everyone has to make that decision. Okay. Can you replace it with a healthier version? Okay. Most of those cost more than typical makeup. So if you can make that replacement, fantastic. If you can, or even if you can't, or even if you can, you could also look to reduce how much you use makeup. Do you need to put it on just to run to the grocery store? Do you need to wear it if you're going to be home most of the day or all day? Or do you want to save that, special red lipstick that you just love and you can't live without, even though you know it has toxins in it? That's totally fine. But maybe only wear that once a month or once a week, right? So hopefully you get from those examples. Again, I'm not judging anyone for their decisions, but hopefully you can follow those examples to understand how to look at each product and decide eliminate, replace, or reduce. Sleep is another topic that I like to talk about. Unfortunately, today, it seems like it's a badge of honor if you get 3 to 4 hours of sleep a night and can, quote unquote, function as a normal human being. I personally am extremely proud to say that I get 8 to 9 hours of sleep every night. Occasionally not so, but for the most part, 8 to 9 hours of sleep a night. And I would hope that after this presentation, a lot of you start to strive for that as well. Okay. So when sleeping, melatonin is the hormone that we're going to talk about mostly. It helps us sleep. It is an endogenous hormone, meaning that your body makes it. And if you take melatonin from an outside source, such as a supplement, your body's going to stop producing it on its own. Production of melatonin for tonight actually began when you woke up this morning. So everything that you do from this morning until you go to bed is going to affect how much melatonin you produce and your ability to sleep tonight. In order to help regulate your melatonin and sleep well, you want to do things like avoiding too much blue light exposure. Blue light is coming from your screens, your TV, your laptop, your phones. So avoid too much of that throughout the day. If you are forced to look at a computer screen all day, there's things like blue light blocking glasses that you might want to look into. And you definitely want to avoid rolling over and checking your phone the first thing in the morning. Okay. You also want to set a sleep schedule. So even if you struggle to sleep more than 4 or 5 hours a night, you should start trying to go to bed at a time that would allow you to wake up when you need to get up and get that 8 to 9 hours of sleep. Force yourself to just lay in bed and read a book, listen to an audiobook, take a bath, anything that's just calming and unwinding, and start getting your body used to resting during those hours. Do not scroll your phone on social media during that, or you're not going to be preparing yourself for sleep. You want to make sure that your room is dark, cold, and quiet, right? And that includes notifications from your phones. Creating a relaxing pre-bed routine. Okay. You also want to avoid screens 1 hour before bed because, again, looking at your screens, it's going to put blue light in your eyes, and it's usually going to, stress you out and, just be on social media, anything like that is not going to be a relaxing pre-bed routine. You also want to make sure you're getting outside during the day. Okay. Vitamin D, again, we need to get that up and boosted, but that's also going to help us with our regulating melatonin. And then again, limiting alcohol and caffeine, especially later in the day, or we're going to impact our ability to sleep. As a chiropractor, of course, I'm going to mention chiropractic in this presentation as well. Can chiropractic help with hormone balance? The answer is yes. So the nervous system is the communication system of the body. The endocrine system, or the glands and organs that make your hormones, utilize that nervous system to communicate and produce your hormones. The number one job of a chiropractor is to improve the function of your nervous system. Okay. So if your body can communicate better, it can work better. Chiropractic also activates that parasympathetic, again, that rest, digest, and heal side of your nervous system, which allows your body to heal itself and bring itself back to homeostasis or a balanced state. So in that aspect, it's going to help your body be able to balance its hormones better. As a final note, I want you to watch this video. Many of us spend many years doing things to our body, usually without knowledge, that make our glass very dirty. Okay. People want to make some of these changes that I've mentioned today, and 2 weeks later, have a clear glass. Unfortunately, it doesn't work that way. As you can see, we've been putting a lot of clean water into that dirty glass for it to eventually get to a point where the glass is clean. Okay. It can take years, because I don't know about you, but every single decision I make every day is not perfect, right? Nobody's perfect. And we just watch that glass have only clean water poured into it. Okay. So the more consistent you are, the more clean water you add to your glass, the better the results you're going to see, the quicker you'll see results. But still don't expect to see results after a few weeks. Okay. You might start to see some promising symptoms alleviated, but you're not going to clean out your glass that's been, years and years in the making. Clean out after 2 weeks of making good decisions. Start small and build. Surround yourself with supportive people. Okay. And don't forget the KISS principle. Keep it simple, silly. Do the basics. Do the things that I mentioned. Okay. Before you start tackling the complex things. If you don't have the basics, the building blocks of a healthy lifestyle down and doing them consistently, the complex things aren't going to help you either.